Hello, and welcome to Fatima's review of ESL verb tenses. Today we are going to look at the perfect verb tenses. And so this will be the perfect, present perfect, the continuous, past perfect, the continuous, and future perfect, the continuous. So there will be 6 of them. They're really basic on here with just showing you the form. We'll talk more about the function and how we use them, because that's really the important part of the language, is being able to manipulate it with the formula so that we can use it with the function. So a lot of students, younger students today, don't even know what this is on the screen. It's an old record player. And I teach the perfect verb tenses in music because a lot of times the perfect verb tenses show connection. And connection is the main idea here. It's not the simple past where there's a definite time, there's an indefinite time in the past that shows connection to present time. So here you see that for the present perfect, it makes a connection. You use the auxiliary have or has, which is really have in the present conjugated. So I have, you have, she has or he has, we have, you have, they have, plus the past participle. The past participle here is ed in regular verbs, or that third column of irregular verbs. So sing, sang, sung, drink, drank, drunk, or teach, taught, taught. Sometimes they look the same. That's why we have 2 markers. That's why in regular past participles or ed, we need that second marker, or have or has. So I have lost my keys connects to now because I can't drive. If I just said I lost my keys, that's a finished action. Perhaps I have them today, or perhaps I have them right now. But I have lost my keys implies that there's a problem, a current problem that connects. It's a more fluent verb tense, again, that shows connection of past to present time. I can say, if this says I have there's no exact time in the past, I can say I have been to many concerts. It can be multiple concerts, but I didn't say exactly when. I went to a concert in 2014. That becomes a specific time, so I need the simple past. Here's an example of the present perfect. He's worked in that soundboard. Noticed that he has contracts to he's. That's why we also need the second marker, not worked and not working. Because if it's he's working, it would look like present progressive. So again, the present perfect has an auxiliary in the affirmative, in the negative, and in questions. Here's the negative, he hasn't heard, and has he heard is the question. There are key words in every verb tense. Like, for example, in present progressive, I am studying right now. Right now is a key word for present progressive. Or I visit my gram during vacations every year. Every year shows repetition. So there are key words in every verb tense. For the perfect verb tenses, here are some examples. A lot of these are adverbs. Yet and already, ever and never. For and since can sometimes get a little confusing for students because it groups time. Remember we said that it was an indefinite time, but we can group time to show some duration, meaning I have studied for 2 days. That gives a duration of time. Since shows start. I have studied since 9 o'clock. So there, I have lived here since 2016 is probably a better example, but since shows the start. Yet and already can both be used in questions. Yet shows surprise. Yet and already are different in the affirmative or negative. So yet is used in negatives, already is used in affirmatives. So I haven't done my homework yet. I have already finished my homework, or I've already completed the assignment. Remember that ever and never, they look different, but a lot of times you forget, and never cannot go with not, because then it becomes a double negative. But I can say, I haven't ever seen that movie, or I have never seen that movie. A lot of times we also use ever in questions. Have you ever seen that movie? Have you ever been there? Have you ever flown to this country? Have you ever visited Europe? So we will use ever to mean any sort of experience in the past. So far and still are just mean up to this point. They add drama or flair to the already verb tense that says exactly that. I think for a lot of native speakers, they don't really understand what the present perfect does, and so far and still just gives that period of time, meaning up to this point. Like, I have visited 5 countries so far, meaning it's not necessarily a finished action, so maybe in the future there will be more. Or, I still haven't seen that movie up to this point, maybe into the future, but we don't know. Remember, you need to watch your information questions. There's always an exception when who or what is the subject. Here we use third person singular, even if the answer is plural. Who has traveled to LA? We can also say the answer may be they have traveled to LA. But just keep in mind that it's third person singular when we ask the question. Watch your markers. There's a difference with an action that is over and one that is connected to the present. Think about this for a moment. If we talk about music, because music is a great venue of showing how experiences and love and loss all connect with now. Because it's how we behave, it's how we lead our lives, depends on the relationships we have, the experiences we have in life. But if we talk about an artist, say Bob Marley, or a singer from the 70s or 60s, most of the time, or a lot of time, they're not alive right now. So Bob Marley wrote many songs, but you can't say Bob Marley has written many songs because he is no longer here. Just like Shakespeare wrote many plays. He's no longer here, so you cannot use present perfect. So be careful with your time words. Any artist that is alive today, say for example, Coldplay is alive today, that band, so they have sung many songs, and maybe they will next week. So remember that it is a different with an action that is over and one is connected to the present. Another example, one more example, and then we will move on, could be I bought a cell phone in 2014. As soon as I use that date, it needs to be simple past. I have bought cell phones. That's an indefinite time. I may buy more. Present perfect progressive. Remember that the continuous or progressive forms, they all have the verb to be and the present participle or the base form in ing. Unless it is a stative verb, like love, like, or hate, those emotion verbs, things you can't see, they get then booted out and stuck into the simple form. But here the present perfect is showing an action that started in the past, connects to now, and is happening right now. So it has a continuous, it's almost like present progressive and present perfect combined. Here you can see the formula. She has been studying, she hasn't been eating, and has she been sleeping. The past perfect shows the connection of two past actions. You're using the past of have, which is had, and past participle. Remember again, the past participle is ed, regular verbs, or that third column of verbs. In a complex sentence, The first action is in past perfect, the second one is in simple past. A lot of times in spoken English, that is known. You know it. So the Titanic had sunk when help arrived. I had eaten when they got home. But sometimes we leave out that second part of the sentence if you already know it in conversation. And there's one more way over here in the corner. The last one is past perfect progressive. It's had plus been plus in base form and ing. It connects two actions in the past, and the first action continued with the connection of the second action. So this is like past progressive and past perfect combined. Again, it has no stative verbs. Love, like, hate. You would put that into normal past perfect. What isn't shown on here is future perfect and future perfect progressive, and they do similar. They have similar patterns. Future perfect is just connecting two future actions. It would be will or be going to, and then the base form of have, and then the past participle. So I will have eaten by the time you get home. And that, my friends, is what we have for the perfect verb tenses. The biggest part of it is to remember that it has a connection, all of them, whether it's present perfect, past perfect, or future perfect, they all show a connection to another action, or present perfect shows a connection to now. It is not a finished action necessarily. We see it a lot in music where we show love and relationships and memories and experiences and how they connect to us now. You can see this on music with U2. You can see it with CCR. You can see it with some of, if you just were to look up the perfect tenses in music, you could find a lot of different artists that use it within their music and their lyrics. And that is all for today. Thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe.